Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. Well, welcome to part 3 of my series based around this used Junkers Bauhaus watch that I've bought. When I bought it, I found it to be a perfect example to be used to just refresh this watch. It needed just a little bit of attention, not too much. In the first part of this series, I used a Cape Cod polishing cloth to polish the case of the watch, and it came up really well. In the second part, I used Polywatch to try and fix and clean up that acrylic crystal on this watch, and it came up really well. Now in this part, I want to talk to you a little bit more specifically about this watch, do a little bit of a review of it, but I also want to talk to you about the history of the Junkers watch brand. So the Junkers brand was founded in 1895 by a German aeronautical engineer called Hugo Junkers. He was an innovating designer of both aircraft and other mechanical things. He was known for his planes that he produced, that he designed. He's also known for other products like gas instant hot water systems. Hugo was very popular at the time. He did very well with his production of these aircraft. I think he was the first person to produce an all-steel aircraft. So he came up with a lot of ideas that has progressed and been used throughout the years throughout aeronautical engineering. He died in about 1935 after producing lots of different aircraft, after being involved in a lot of different movements, including the Bauhaus movement, which was in around the 1920s throughout Germany. The Bauhaus movement is sort of an architectural, artistic design based around simplicity of design. After his death, unfortunately, his planes did get used extensively throughout World War II by the Nazi Party, but he wasn't around or involved in that at all. Hugo himself was never involved in any watch design or production, and he wasn't involved in this particular company. This company of Junkers watches was founded about 25 years ago. And this Junkers watch brand has certainly used the heritage of the aeronautics, as well as the engineering, as well as the Hugo's involvement in the Bauhaus design. And I think that's perfectly fine. It doesn't matter that they weren't producing watches at the time. They're just using that sort of heritage and that history to sort of inspire the watches that they're producing today. And after the watch company was founded, Charlotte Junkers joined the company. Charlotte is actually the great-granddaughter of Hugo. So now there's even a bit of a family connection between the original Junkers brand as well as now the watch company itself. I do want to say a big thank you to Charlotte Junkers. I reached out to the Junkers watch brand just asking for a little bit more information so I could put this video together, and Charlotte responded to me personally. So thank you very much, Charlotte. I do appreciate the information that you provided me so I can put this video together. So I want to show you today this Junkers watch that I've bought. It is a used watch. Unfortunately, it's no longer available, but there are some of them out there on the second-hand market, and I think there are even some new old stock available as well. When it came out, it was costing around 900 Australian dollars. It's been made completely in Germany. However, it's been pieced together by sort of a third company, which is what a lot of these watch companies do, which is perfectly fine. This is a Bauhaus designed watch, so it has a Bauhaus looking dial, which we see in other watches as well. It's powered by a lovely Swiss ETA movement, and it's just a really nice watch. And it's a style of watch that I've been looking for some time. A few years ago, I saw the Younghang's Max Bill Bauhaus watch, and ever since then, I've sort of coveted that design. I've wanted one of those watches, but it was a little bit beyond the money that I wanted to spend on this style of watch. So when this Junkers watch came up for sale at a reasonable price used, it was such a good looking watch, and I just had to buy it. And after owning it for a while, I'm going to tell you, I actually think it looks better than the Younghang's watch. Now, not to say that I still don't like that Max Bill watch, but I quite like this watch. So let's flip the camera around now and let's check out this watch, and I'll give you a bit of a mini review of it. So I'm not going to do a complete full in-depth review of this Junkers watch. It is a second-hand used watch. It is still available on the market if you have a look around the internet for it. However, because it's not brand new and it's not as readily available, I'm not going to spend too much time giving you a full in-depth review. I just really want to show you the quality and the feel of the watch, the packaging, and just a little bit of understanding about why I bought the watch and what I like and dislike about it. So the packaging comes in this sort of outer sleeve here, and it comes in with this really nice box. And you'll see this nice inset steel logo of Junkers, which is very pretty, very nice. And inside here, they've put this aluminium corrugation, which I think is really trying to represent and link in with the history with the aviation. Some of the planes that Junkers or Hugo Junkers designed was actually using this corrugation iron. So he's trying to link that in, or the watch brand is trying to link that into their history. So here we have the Bauhaus style watch, which has a very simple dial. It's quite a well-known dial now. A lot of different manufacturers are producing these Bauhaus style watches, and they're a very nice looking watch, which you can see why they're so popular. I do particularly like on this Junkers watch how they've added that 3D steel logo, which I think it really gives you a little bit extra oomph to the dial. Being such a fairly clean, aesthetically sparse dial, it's nice just to have a little bit of extra something on the dial. Overall, it's presented and executed very well, that dial. Obviously, it's all printed. You have these very simple polished hands, but there's a little bit of lume in the middle of those. We have a long second hand, which is painted black up until the tip. We have Made in Germany written down the bottom, and we have this minute track around the outside, divided into the 5-second marks. The case itself is 40 millimeters. It's about 10.5 millimeters thick. Lug to lug, a nice short 44 millimeters, and it comes on a 20 millimeter lug width. Now, this is not the supplied strap that came with it. Unfortunately, because I bought this second hand, I think the original strap either got lost or used or killed, and this was the watch strap that they had bought and replaced. It's very nice, but I won't bother talking too much about it because it wasn't the original with the watch. The style of the watch case itself is that nice bowl shape, which some of these watches do come as, which is very pleasant and nice to look at. It has that nice signed crown, again with that logo, which I think works really well. It's a nice logo, and it certainly suits the crown there. It is just a push-pull crown. It certainly has manual winding, and obviously has hacking as well. On the back here, you can look through that see-through case back to see that ETA 2824-2 movement. It's a high beat movement running at 28,800 vibrations per hour. And as I said, it has hacking and hand winding. Surrounding that see-through case back is a brushed surround, which is screw down on those 4 points. It says Made in Germany. It gives you the model number. It says Junkers Bauhaus, all stainless steel, and it gives you the water resistance rating of 3 atmospheres or 30 meters. The movement itself is not over decorated, but has that nice sort of gold color rotor, which I think is quite pleasant. It really gives us something a little bit extra. And it's quite nice to look through that window to see that high beat ETA movement. As you can see, it's a high beat, 28,800 vibrations per hour. There's a little bit of beat error, but not too much. Has a nice healthy 276 amplitude, and this seems to be quite consistent with a couple of times that I've checked it, running about -4 seconds per day. It is worth noting that this watch is around about 5 or 6 years old, so it is probably getting very close to needing a service, but it still shows you that the figures that it's producing, even after being worn regularly and getting closer to a service, are quite good. And here we have it on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. I think it looks quite good actually, it's quite amazing. I've been wearing a variety of different straps. I've just put it back on this one because it is a very nice, well done sort of dark brown leather strap, and it originally did come on a dark brown leather strap. Now to see what that looks like, I'm going to put a picture next to my hand there just to show you the original strap that would have come with this watch. It has a really nice profile, sits nicely to my wrist, and I think that Bauhaus style, it just suits this sort of dress watch style, and it looks good on wrist. You'll see there it is all covered by this sort of domed acrylic crystal, which if you've watched the last couple of parts, you would have seen that I've done a bit of a cleanup on that with that poly watch, and it came up really, really well. So what do I like about this watch? What don't I like about it? And what would I change? I'd say there's actually not that much that I don't like about it. I really like that clean aesthetics of the dial. It has a very nice case shape, and it is lovely to see that ETA movement in the back. What don't I like about it? Well, what I don't like about it mostly is the noise that it produces. It's quite a noisy movement, and I know that's partly due to the case design. These sort of dress watches, you do tend to hear the movement a little bit more because it is thinner. It's designed to be a little bit lighter on wrist, but that certainly would be something that would be nice to have fixed on this particular watch, make it a little bit quieter on wrist. It's also quite loud when it ticks, and again, that has to do with that case design. The only other thing I'd change about this watch, that second hand, I'd love it to be just a tiny little bit longer. Wouldn't it be fantastic if it touched that minute track? I think that would just really make this watch pop even more than it does. Overall, I am really impressed by this watch and I'm glad that I bought it. I'm also glad that I didn't buy it brand new at full retail at around 900 Australian dollars brand new. It probably would have been beyond the amount of money that I would have wanted to spend on it. Whereas I paid around about 300 Australian dollars, which I don't think was a complete bargain for the watch, but I also don't think I overpaid for it. Obviously, it's going to be due for a service in the next year or so that's going to cost me a little bit more money if I choose to invest that into this watch. And I think I probably will, because I think I'm going to keep this watch. I really enjoy wearing it. I really enjoy it in my collection. All right, let's get back to me and I'll give you some of my final thoughts on this watch. Well, thank you very much for watching part 3 of this 3-part series. I absolutely adore this watch. I think it's going to be in my collection very much long term. Now, if you enjoyed this video, or if you enjoy any of my others, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe. Please leave me a comment. I love hearing from all of you around the world, and I hope to see you again in the next video.